We've had a term that we've been kicking around here for a bit, which is increasing the general data literacy of the population. So that's both our community advocates that are working, and these are citizens that might be actively engaged in looking at county information. We want to make it easier for them to understand and give some context behind that information. Similarly for our internal workforce as well, that's very important, right? The better that they are, more comfortable they are with looking at data and information, the better that their quality of their work is going to be in the long run. So that's all part of really a bigger story that we're trying to tell. How do we make departments better at telling their own story? Ultimately, if they understand the mechanics of it, if they understand the data, they're going to be better at telling that story. So it's not going to be just some anecdotal thing or something that's based on some experience that they've had in the past. Now they can couple that with some real hard numbers. I think one of the key things that we've taken advantage of this year and really seen the power of is the API functionality, right? The API functionality lets us build a lot of things on top of the data. So initially, we thought that that would be limited to some developer on the outside that's going to be using this information. What we've actually seen is that we've been able to use that technology internally to better create dashboards, better create things very, very quickly and turn on a dime using that information. So it really helps us if we have an idea to be able to deliver on telling that story very, very quickly. Plus, Socrata's got other tools that we're actively looking at right now that already do a lot of that work out of the box for you, right? So the mayor's open budget is something that we took advantage that has some out-of-the-box visualizations that we were able to use. And we're looking at some of the other tools in the Socrata toolbox to be able to kind of work into the overall suite of things that we'd like to offer to residents. From its simplest route, in terms of efficiency, we've been able, using open data as the platform for, say, delivering public records requests, has been a quick win for us. With just in a few months, we've already been able to find savings in that a person that was retiring, that used to have to, was the one that was actually maintaining these public records requests. We didn't have to refill that position because we've moved that over and automated those functions on the open data portal, and people are now doing that via self-service. Again, one of the key things that we're actively focusing in on is internal data literacy, right? And if our workforce, I mean, I don't know how many times we've seen before that we have people within our workforce that really want to get access to the data. They want that report. They want something that's going to give them a better insight as to what the frontline work looks like. Oftentimes, they can't get that report fast enough to solve a problem, or they don't know who to ask. And this really starts to address that problem, right? It's a whole, they know where they can go, create a one-stop shop, and we're giving them a tool where they can explore the information more. They're not even just getting the report that they originally asked for, but they also have a suite of tools where they can do some exploratory work. Them becoming more data literate is inherently something that's going to make them more efficient. We're providing the tools that sort of sit on top of the data. There's tools within Socrata itself that they can use, but because it's built on an open platform, they can also apply their own tools. They can kick it out to Excel and to a tool that they might be a little bit more comfortable with. And we've actually seen that example. We had one police officer who was looking at analyzing 311 service data to look for things like graffiti, abandoned vehicles, junk trash overgrowth in a particular neighborhood, things that might be predictors and indicators of crime activity in the future. He had asked us for a report, and we kind of said, well, I mean, we can give you the report, or we can just point you to the data. You don't have to wait weeks for that report to come in. He was actually able to pull that information up in about 15 minutes, and he can do it recurring on an ongoing basis because the data is updated nightly. And not only, this is something that someone got creative with and did in their own district, and it's something that can easily be replicated over all police districts. It's bringing two different areas from across the county, merging them together, and that's where you really start to get some of like creative problem solving, as opposed to just the more mechanical stuff that would be more obvious that people are used to doing. That's very consistent with the mayor's platform. Let's find some efficiencies, let's get creative about what we're doing, let's create some transparency and fiscal responsibility. I mean, you're covering all three things in that sphere by making this a possibility.